Life is a journey, a wondrous journey, and it's not the destination that counts. I don't think you'll ever see a hearse carrying or towing a U-Haul behind it. As a motivational speaker, self-proclaimed philosopher, I always say, your life is a movie. You are the star of that movie. Not only are you the star, but you're the writer, director, and producer of that movie. Make it a great movie. In this documentary you're about to see, which is 1,169 days old and a chapter in my movie, I think you'll find it a pretty exciting story. So sit back, relax, and you're about to hear some really incredible stuff. I've documented it, so we're going to do flashbacks of the 1,900 plus videos I created during this chapter, where I drove across country, went throughout Africa, Ukraine, Turkey, and a few other countries. I'm now sitting in the middle of the night in Belize on the island of Ambergris Key to recount to you how I got here. It's a great story. I think you'll enjoy it. But let me give you a little background first. I was born in Beverly Hills, California, to industry parents. My mother, actress and singer, father, a producer, her brother, an Academy Award-winning producer. So we lived where I lived for the first 2 years in the affluent community of Beverly Hills until my father decided to disappear. Turns out he joined a carnival and ran a gambling booth for the next 10 years. I never did meet him. So she became disillusioned with high society, the bullshit, the rat race. And luckily or unluckily for her, she fell in love with an abstract expressionist, an artist who brought the beat scene from New York to Venice. This is 1956, long time ago. So we moved from Beverly Hills to Venice, California. At that time, it was the poorest area of Los Angeles, and you didn't really want to be caught in that area of town. Life magazine did an article on us, front page article, Beatsville versus Squaresville, our family living in a ramshackle pad in Venice and a family living in Kansas. At any rate, we moved from town to town, and he used to paint and pay rent with the paintings. So that lasted a few years. We ended up in a commune in Hillsburg, California, another poor area, which now is a town for billionaires. And our cabin burned down. Burnt 10,000 acres with it. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He committed suicide. And my mother died from an ulcer operation 6 months later. So I always say worrying can kill you, as it did my mother. So I was fostered into middle-class America, from the top to the bottom to the middle. An Italian foster father and a Mexican foster mother. Brutal existence for the next 7 years. It was pretty bad. So they say the first 7 years are very informative. I'm trying to learn about that now. And so I finally hitchhiked out around the world for my education, because I didn't really get much of a grammar school, junior or high school education. It's pretty tough. So that's the short background. You can read it in my book, Lester's Legacy. So I'm living in this foster home, and I thought my name was Monty Richer, because that's what it was. I took the name of, they gave me the name of Arthur Richer's last name, so my name was Monty Richer. Then they tell me, because I'm now a foster kid, what my real name was. They said, your name is Lester Monty Cook III. Really? What a bizarre name that is. And so I went by Monty, though. So that's a little bit of the backstory. Now, as I'm telling you this in this documentary, I documented my journey, which started because of a thing called COVID, which history will show was a very bad flu. But society pushes people into fear. Fear makes a lot of money. COVID made $26 trillion. And I didn't buy it. And they said, the government said, that you must quarantine in your house, wash your hands 20 times a day, and wear a mask. I said, bullshit. No one's ever told me what to do. Well, they tried to when I was a kid. Didn't listen much. As an adult, no one told me what to do. And the government wasn't about to. So my marriage of 35 years was on the rocks. It was a great marriage, but, you know, all things come to an end. My kids were grown. They had moved out of the nest. They had kids of their own. And I felt it was a great time to take my philosophy, which is called the Be Fantastic philosophy, which you'll hear about, on the road. My goal is to travel around the world. And as I sit here on the island of Ambergris Caye in Belize, I'm about to tell you how it all happened. And I'm going to show you a lot of clips along the way, because had I not made all these videos, which helps me in my memory, no one would have believed the luck I've had, the fantastic people I've met, the wondrous places I've seen, all during COVID, which was a great time to travel. You know, being in the 60s, I was supposedly the target for COVID. I didn't buy that either. And I partied with a lot of young people in crowded places during COVID without a mask. Never had a problem. So, where do I start? The beginning. That's always a good place. In a minute, we'll have light, and I'll be able to tell you. You'll be able to see who's behind the camera. But I thought I'd let your imagination roll in the beginning of this documentary, because I think you'll find it a really fun, informative documentary. Because before I let out, I had developed a philosophy, the Be Fantastic philosophy, which consists of 3 commitments. It started at 4, but I realized people can't remember 4. They can't remember the 10 Commandments. Keep it simple. Life is simple. Life should be simple. The 3 commitments to kindness. The first, most important one is to be kind to yourself. It's the hardest, but it's the most important. The second, be kind to everyone else, all others, and our creatures. And the third, be kind to Mother Earth. Those 3 commitments, I have proven, will solve a lot of problems in the world. Actually, all the problems in the world. They'll stop wars, pollution, rape, killing, arguing, fighting. Just be kind. So I'm going to take you on this little chapter, which I say is 1,169 days old today. And I think by the end of this documentary, you'll have learned about who I am, but you'll learn about yourself as well. because I have a lot of fantastic advice. I've been around the world. I've met the smartest people in the world. I've met the richest people in the world. I've met the most powerful people in the world. I've met the kindest people in the world. I've met the poorest people in the world. And I've combined all those experiences into the Be Fantastic philosophy. So stay tuned, relax, and enjoy this little documentary.